Hi, today we're going to dig deep into the mind of one of cinema's most charismatic supervillains, the Joker. Whether it's in the early comics from the 1940s or more recently portrayed by Joaquin Phoenix, the psychology of this killer captivates audiences. Let's analyze together what goes on in the mind of the Joker.
I just hope my death makes more sense than my life.
The Joker made his first appearance in the spring of 1940, in the first DC comic dedicated to Batman. He was inspired by a character created by Victor Hugo, L'Homme qui rit, the man who laughs, a character who displayed a chilling smile. Originally intended to be killed off in his initial appearance, the Joker was ultimately spared, allowing the character to become Batman's arch-nemesis. Throughout the comics, we see a true evolution of the character. At first, he is portrayed as a mastermind of crime, a highly intelligent genius with a sadistic sense of humor. Then, his image evolves to that of a prankster, riddled with clumsiness. Finally, he is brought back to his more insane and dark side. Overall, the Joker is unpredictable, manipulative, a keen psychologist, and highly skilled in his schemes. He knows how to lead people through his charisma. But perhaps what makes him most dangerous is that he has nothing to lose. He appears to feel no fear or remorse. And above all, there's that chilling, schizophrenic laugh. Sowing chaos amuses him. There's a recurring mystery throughout the years: the lack of information about his origins. We don't know who he is, why he does what he does, or how he became the Joker. His tendency to lie and invent stories leaves us doubtful about any potential origin for the Joker. Failed comedian, former mobster, burglar. There are quite a few theories. His physical and psychological defamation would be due to contact with acid. The rumors say he fell into a tank. In cinema, he has been portrayed successively by Jack Nicholson, Heath Ledger, Jared Leto, and Joaquin Phoenix. But today, it's Joaquin Phoenix's portrayal of the Joker that interests us because it's the first time a film focuses on him and provides so much information about his past. The movie. In the 2019 movie, the Joker is Arthur Fleck, a failed comedian who works for a clown agency where he constantly fails and makes mistakes. He appears completely out of touch with reality, cracking jokes that nobody finds funny, which is problematic for a clown. But what makes him crazy? Well, initially, he isn't really crazy. Instead of the traditional VAD of acid origin story, the plot takes a different turn. The Joker is simply an unhappy man suffering from a medical condition. He laughs uncontrollably in all situations due to a neurological disorder. It's believed that this condition could be a result of repeated head trauma during his childhood. His illness, for which he claims to take 7 medications, makes him an outcast, judged and despised by people. He lives in constant torment. Beyond his condition, his life is a nightmare, a failed career, living with his sick mother, and a world that hates and finds him strange. And here's the potentially shocking part. His condition actually exists in real life. It's known as pathological laughter, occurring after damage to certain parts of the brain. People with this condition laugh uncontrollably without being able to stop. Indeed, the Joker is doomed to always laugh, something that we typically associate with a positive emotion. This creates a stark contrast, a dichotomy between his constant laughter and the overall sadness of the film. As he himself says, "I hope my death makes more sense than my life," which reflects the depth of his suffering and depression. His character's relentless laughter serves as a poignant symbol of the inner turmoil and pain he experiences throughout the story. Throughout the movie, the Joker is a victim of injustices. He is humiliated and devalued, which subverts the typical portrayal of villains in cinema, where they are usually the only monsters in a kind world. In this case, the Joker is treated as an object by others, but to the eyes of the audience, he appears to be the most human. He faces aggression from a group of young people, a mother scolds him for making a face to amuse her daughter, and the world of humor mocks him. In essence, the message is clear. There is no place for him in this world. He is nobody. Speaking of the world, while Gotham is an imaginary city, the movie is incredibly realistic. It shows a big American city characterized by inequality, injustice, and violence, which couldn't exist 100% in our world. This contrasts with classic superhero films where everything is exaggerated. This film immerses us in reality, and we realize that sometimes reality can be much harsher than a screenplay. Arthur Flecks are likely individuals we have encountered in our own lives, adding to the film's impact and relevance. The triggering event stems from a situation that could happen to anyone. One evening on the subway, Three men attempt to assault a young woman, a scenario that unfortunately anyone could witness at some point. Arthur appears disturbed by the situation and begins to laugh. The three men then assault Arthur, who fights back, taking a step further into madness by killing them. From there, everything unravels. He gradually descends into complete madness, becoming a psychotic killer. He kills his mother and a friend. He starts to paint his face. He dyes his hair green and adopts the iconic appearance of the Joker. This transformation highlights his descent into a dark and chaotic persona, shedding the remnants of his former self. The transformation of Arthur into the Joker is a fascinating phenomenon. He finally appears to have self-confidence. He dresses in a suit, struts through the streets, becomes megalomaniacal, and talks to himself at home, imagining an audience hanging on his every word. In essence, he becomes the Joker. For the first time in his life, he wields power and feels like he's becoming someone. His wicked actions are the only things that allow him to exist within society. He has finally found his place. Moreover, his crimes are discussed on television, fulfilling his dream of becoming famous. These kinds of stories have occurred in real life as well. Several serial killers, like Stephen Griffiths or Danny Rowling, have stated that they committed crimes to be as famous as Ted Bundy. This type of criminal profile is extremely dangerous because they lack a clear motive. They aren't seeking money, revenge against a specific individual, or power. Instead, they crave chaos and the fame they failed to achieve as a comedian. It's as if nothing can quench their thirst for wrongdoing. This makes the character truly menacing because they have no moral compass, no ethics, and seek only to exact vengeance for the determinism they've suffered. Born into poverty, without a father, and with a mental illness, they seek to make the world suffer, a world that never accepted them. What about us? The film takes the audience on a powerful emotional journey. It elicits a range of feelings toward the Joker. At first, he seems weird, but as the story unfolds, we start to understand his suffering. We develop deep pity for him. He didn't choose to be weird or a failure. He's a victim of life. The injustices he faces further stoke our empathy. For example, in the beginning of the movie, a group of young people attacks him for no reason, and it's heartbreaking, making us want to help him. The film's narrative structure is clever. It's not common in superhero films to delve into the villain's suffering, and when it does happen, there's often a specific order. First, we see the villain's wickedness, and then we peel back the layers to reveal their pain. Take the example of Magneto in the X-Men series. We witness him causing terror before understanding his terrible childhood. In Joker, it's different. We meet Arthur before he fully becomes the Joker, and that's incredibly impactful. It subverts the usual conventions and has a profound effect on the audience. The fact that we sympathize with him and watch him descend into madness is truly stirring. We don't hate him as we might in other films. Instead, we try to understand him. More than a movie about the Joker, it's a movie about our society, shedding light on the struggles and injustices faced by those who fall through the cracks. Does he have a mental illness? No matter the origin of the disorder, the Joker's symptoms are recurring. But what does he have? His diagnosis is quite complex. He shows traits of a psychopath, a sociopath, but he also has delusions and hallucinations. He becomes megalomaniacal, very self-assured, and develops traits of a narcissistic pervert. It is with his charisma that he seduces Harley Quinn. While being a patient in the psychiatric hospital, he seduces this young psychiatrist who requests to be his primary caregiver. She then helps him escape, and they develop a tumultuous relationship. He psychologically and physically abuses her. Their relationship is toxic, and they oscillate between wild love and attempts to destroy the Joker. I hope this analysis has helped you better understand the character of the Joker. However, I wanted to share a perspective that may disrupt all the work we have just done. The Joker is a liar. That's a fact. The Joker suffers from hallucinations. It's proven. What if every passage in comics, films, or anywhere we have the Joker's point of view was distorted? What if it was just the product of his chronic mythomania and his hallucinations? Perhaps everything we see in the 2019 film is distorted and is nothing but the machination of a man locked in a hospital. I'll let you think about that.